So we're here today at this property near High Wycombe. We're going to give you guys an overview of what's involved to carry out an electrical installation condition report. Let's go inside and take a look where we start. Let's go. The first thing that we like to do when we do an EICR is go to the origin of the supply, the electrics, which is where the D&O supply comes in to the main fuse and the meter, and then the consumer unit as well. So we'll go through and take a look at that, and then we'll look at the details we need to take down. Let's go. So we're joined today by Gemma from the office. She's come along with us to also gain a better understanding of what is involved in an electrical installation condition report. So these cables that come across the top of this consumer unit here, these are actually the supply cables coming in. So this one that goes into this item here, this is the main fuse. So this is the main D&O live cable coming in. And then this one here is the neutral, and this goes into a neutral terminal here. Okay. This then passes through to the meter. This is your meter. And then the cables coming out is on the, this is the load side, this is the supply side. So these are ones that come in from the D&O in the red and the black. And then out of this side, this is the supply side. And then these go through, which is not always the case, but these then go through to another set of terminal blocks here. And then in this particular installation, we've got some cables that then go from there to that consumer unit. And then these ones go down the back and they go rear entry into this consumer unit here as well. So we've got Adam here now. So Adam, what is it you like to check off first when you start an EICR?
Main earth, find the rod, because this is obviously a TT system.
Yeah.
Your oil bond, water bond, gas bond.
Yeah. So this particular property's got oil, so there's only going to be an oil bond.
Yeah, and look for the water bond, and then any visible observations around the house, so then we can start filling the test sheet out.
Okay, great. So now we're going to go look for the main earth, the earth rod outside, and then we're going to check the bonding to the water and the oil. So let's go and have a look and see what we can find there. So we're outside now. We found the main earth that comes out to the earth electrode. The earth electrode goes into the ground here, which is basically like a rod that goes into the ground. This is the termination box that makes the connection of the cable to the rod. This is sat up a little bit high and this is a bit loose. The earth cable, which is the means of earth for the property, that is only 10 mil and it needs it to be 16 mil to comply to the current regulations.
So we've come up here today to do the earth loop impedance test in the summer house for the EICR.
And how do we do that then?
So I'll show you. Plug this in. It appears that the live neutral is reversed. So there's obviously a fault up here.
Okay.
Let's get my plug-in
So what do we do now?
Right, my plug-in tester, just to show you.
Okay.
So there's one light here, which indicates that all three lights should be on. This indicates, it does tell you, that live neutral reverse, which is really dangerous. So this will be noted down on the EICR and we'll inform the customer, and obviously we'll have to get it rectified pretty soon.
Okay.
So we're down in this corner where this access panel is for the main incoming water supply. So I'm going to take this off and have a quick look in here. So this is where the main stop tap is. Now, this particular supply that comes in, this comes in as a plastic blue pipe, which actually means it doesn't need to be bonded. However, the previous electrician seems to have run a cable in here which is not connected to anything because there's nothing to connect to, because it comes in as plastic and it continues as plastic through to another part of the system there. So on the electrical installation condition report, we'll mark the box for water bond as NA, non-applicable, because this system doesn't need the water to be bonded.
Okay.
So we've been outside and checked the oil line coming into the property. It comes in low level down here, which is hidden a bit out of sight, so we can't really get the camera in there, but we can see that there is absolutely no bonding cable in this cupboard, and certainly one that doesn't make a connection. There's not one that makes a connection onto the oil supply at all. So we're going to have to do some further checks and investigation to see what's going on there, because we cannot find the bonding for the oil at all. Back at the consumer unit, we can see we've picked up on quite a few observations here, so we'll just go through and talk about what we found. So the first one that we found is that this consumer unit here, which I think was probably the original one, would you say that? This looks like the original consumer unit for the property. This has got no inspection sticker on here at all. This consumer unit here, which is newer, this had an inspection sticker on there, but we'll come back to that in a minute. But this one had an inspection sticker and that one didn't. So we've done a bit more further investigation with the oil bond, and we found what appears to be the bonding cable. It's actually labelled oil, but it obviously doesn't make its way over to there. So we've done some tests and it just doesn't pick up on anything. So, but what we have found is that this earth cable is actually used as the main earthing conductor, looped from this consumer unit to supply the main earth for this consumer unit. So, and we can see that up here, it's wiggling around, and it's also undersized because this is a 10mm earth cable and it should be a 16mm earth cable for this board. Another observation that we've made is that the RCCB, which is covering all the circuits, is only 100 milliamp and it should be 30 milliamp. In fact, it may have been 30 milliamp once before, because it actually has a label here saying main switch 80 amp 30 milliamp RCCB. So that's been swapped out at some point and it shouldn't have been done, because now there's some circuits that do need to have 30 milliamp protection, and unfortunately they've only got 100 milliamp protection. A couple more observations that we made is that the mains tails are only 16mm feeding this consumer unit, and they should be 25mm. The ones feeding this consumer unit are of the correct size. Another observation that I've seen is that the feed going out to the outbuilding, which is run from here in armoured cable, is not being glanded off at all here, and we've checked down the other end and it's also not being glanded off there at all. So that means the strands on the first inside PVC sheath of the SWA cable are not earthed at either end, and that is a bit of a problem in terms of safety. A few other observations that we can see from this consumer unit is that there is absolutely no inspection sticker on here at all. It's quite a new installation, it's been done in the last year. There's even a manufacturer's sticker on here which it's asked for the tightness of all the factory connections to be tightened, and then this label removed. So that's not even been removed, so that just makes me feel a bit uneasy about some of the other stuff that we've seen already. So we're going to take this cover off and have a look inside. We can see right at the back, it's a bit out of sight, but we can see straight down to where the armoured comes up into the wall. It hasn't been glanded off whatsoever, so that means the SWA strands of that armoured aren't glanded either end, and they're not earthed to the electrical system of this property. The purpose of an SWA cable being glanded each end and earthed is that in the event of any damage that then results in the outer strands making contact with one of the live conductors within the cable, is that will cause the covering MCB to trip, and that will obviously provide disconnection and then cut off the circuit from any potential harm. The issue with this SWA cable not being earthed at either end, the outer strands are not making connection to the earthing system at all. So hypothetically, in the event of this SWA cable being damaged, the outer strands, if they make contact with the live conductor inside the cable, the strands would actually become live, and that would be a whole safety issue in itself. This consumer unit is a metal fire rated consumer unit, which is great. However, where the cable entries come into the back of the consumer unit, there is, I can see straight into the cavity in the timber frame of this timber building. So what I really would like to have seen is some fire foam in there, so that will be picked up on the remedial works, and we'll get that filled with some fire foam when we come back round to do the remedial works there. So we have a similar situation here with the bonding for the main water supply coming into this annex. It does actually come in a blue plastic pipe again, but they've run in an earth cable and not connected it. However, there are, down in this corner, we can see metal pipe work go into the fabric of the floor, and then they re-emerge elsewhere. So we would have liked to see it bonded at the point of entry, and also where it re-emerges elsewhere out the floor in another part of the annex. When we are carrying out an electrical installation condition report, we need to have access to every single electrical accessory within the property. So that means every socket, light fitting, switch for the lights, isolators for appliances and ovens and hobs. We need to access every single accessory so we can, one, visually inspect them for integrity, and secondly, we can actually get a tester onto them if we need to test at that point and get the results that we need to collect to put into the electrical installation condition report. Throughout the day, while we've been carrying out the electrical installation condition report, we've been adding the observations and tests to our testing software on this iPad. From there, it will be uploaded to the cloud-based system for this software that we use. And then our QS, James, back at the office, will then download that from the cloud to his desktop, where he will then review all the observations and test results from today, and he'll review and verify them to make sure they are accurate, and then that report will be completed and forward on to our client. As we've seen today, this property, we've picked up on lots of observations, so in this particular instance, we'll send over the electrical installation condition report along with a quote for all the remedial works to make the property safe and satisfactory. Some of the works may involve the need to replace consumer units, so in that instance, an electrical installation certificate will get issued. But for example, if we're only carrying out minor remedial works without the need of replacing the consumer unit or some other work, then we would issue a satisfactory electrical installation condition report. Thank you for watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed the content, and if you want to subscribe to our channel and view more videos in the future, please do so and hit the like button, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thank you.